Okay, so, like I said, the main thing is that we know what kind of activities we're supposed to do each week to be or continue to be a top producer. So that's what we all want to be, yes? So I think the first thing it says is something about how much you need to work. I know it says go into the office, but that also means go to work. It doesn't matter if you're working at home or if you're working at here or you're working on a listing appointment or anything, but it says go to work a minimum of what?
5 days a week.
5
days a
times.
week.
5 times, yeah. Okay, so what would, based on what I said last week, what would determine a day's work? Is it working 8 hours? Did I say that?
No.
6 hours?
No.
Did I say- I said just doing something. You could go in to your office, wherever it is, or you could go out and meet somebody and spend 30, 40 minutes and get some sort of a result, and that would be something happened that day. So to me, that's, you work that day. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just thinking, some of you went door knocking, for example, you had a good conversation, you said.
Yeah, I did.
You know, and then maybe you were busy the rest of the day at something else, but that would still count as a day worked, even though you only did it for 30, 40 minutes, that's fine. So it is a results-oriented business. You get paid for your results. Okay, so what was the next one on the list there?
Book a minimum of 3.
Book a minimum of 3 listing appointments. Now, a lot of you are new, so that's going to be hard at first. And some of you, even when you've been around for a while, it's not that easy, isn't it? I don't think to get 3, but you may as well, what? You may as well try.
Right.
You know, could you imagine if somebody says, yeah, I can't work, you know, at all, and I can't book appointments, and I can't talk to people, and I don't, and this and that. I mean, they're just literally saying they can't have their own business, just to be blunt, isn't that right? So it's like, okay, well, I need to try to book 3 appointments. We're in this program. In fact, even when you're out of the program, you should always try to book what? 3 appointments. That's what top producers do. They wake up Monday morning and they start figuring out, you know, what their week is going to be like, and they get in the office, they start prospecting, returning calls, you know, whatever it takes, and try to book their appointments. They always do that. So you try, and then remember on that page A6 that you handed to your captain when you came in today, that's where you kept track of how many appointments you booked and how many you attended and stuff like that, right? So what's the next thing on the list? Oh, by the way, that's a checklist for you. So you have little boxes that I put there, so you want to make sure that you check this off before you come to class, preferably the night before, and fill out A6 the night before, or first thing in the morning before class, definitely before 9:30, right? Otherwise we phone you. Phone you pretty quick, don't we? So it's a checklist, so you know, check it off if you worked 5 days, and don't check it off or put an X if you didn't. I wouldn't put an X because it looks like the same as checking off the box. So if you work 5 days, check it off. If you book 3 listing appointments, check it off. What's the next thing on the list?
Keep track of your production.
On
A7.
A7. How many of you had some transactions, meaning a listing or a sale or something? Show me your hands. So I had 2 or 3. So everybody turn to page A7. A stands for admin section, administration, again in the front of the book. And you want to make sure that if you had some stats that, and I showed you this last week,
Yeah.
you want to make sure you put in your production right away. Otherwise, you're going to get way behind in this class, especially if you're starting to sell and stuff like that. So Peter wasn't here, so I'll just let you know, Peter, if it's a listing, you can see where you put the date.
Right.
Then you check off L for listing, then you put in the listing address, and you put in what the list price is. Okay, then underneath that, if you get a listing sold, if it's the same one, you don't use the same line, you have to use a separate line. And you want to keep track of your production. I'll ask everybody to hand it in a couple weeks just so I can see it, or I might just come over and say, open it up, let me see to make sure you're using it. And then the next one says, keep track of your weekly production on page
A6.
A6, and hand it in to your captain no later than
9:30.
9:30. So if some of you, 9:30 is actually, I don't know, some of us are running 15 minutes late, if I may be blunt. Isn't that true? You know, and only you can determine if you're one of those type of people. I know I was like that when I was in my 20s. I was always running late. And there was a number of reasons. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I didn't care enough. Maybe I didn't respect certain things. Maybe I just had excuses. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of reasons if we can just be just transparent, open with you guys, right? And then at some point I started to be 15 minutes early. It took some time to build that habit, but you gotta be 10 minutes early for everything in this business. Does that make sense? And especially for the class. Be here 10 minutes early all the time. What's the next thing?
Put together a sphere of 25 minimum contacts.
put 25 names on a list, so if you did that, check it off. Right, check it off. Next on the list is what?
Set a short-term reward.
Okay, let me see them. They're your laminated sheets, and putting it in a thing doesn't count. Has to be laminated. That's what I said, right, you guys? I think you might have stepped out of the room for that. But everybody's got it except, is it Hardeep, you got yours?
No.
Okay, well, that's,
I will do it today.
you really need it. That's really important. I'm really pleased. I think because I became such a little whiner about that page you guys didn't bring last week, maybe I got all of you to do this one. So we had everybody except one person. And Peter, you still did a good job because you didn't know, but it has to be laminated. And so what's next? Well, that was a short-term goal, 8 weeks, how many listings you're gonna get, laminate it and all that. It does say laminate in the thing there, so check it off if you got it, laminate it and it's here, okay? What's next?
Schedule a minimum of 1 day off.
Schedule a day off. If you took a day off, check it off. Okay, and next?
Listen to lesson 1 3 times.
How many of you listened to lesson 1 3 times? Show of hands, okay? So check it off. Is there anybody that didn't listen to the audio at all? Because you're missing out on over 50% of the training by not listening to the audio tracks. And the main reason is that when you're in class, you're going to hear ideas, especially if you're new. You hear stuff, then you start thinking, then I say something else and you totally miss it when it comes to your memory. So the audio track was created in a studio audience, or studio, in a studio, not an audience, in a studio, so that you could download it on Bluetooth, right, and listen to it anywhere you want. And you listen to it over and over, right? If you listen, everyone got your name tags on?
Yeah.
Okay, Josh, you listen up. This is important because you never listened to the audio tracks. You got to listen to them.
No, I listened. I just.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I missed
Oh, I'm
the
sorry. I
part.
thought you said you
I'm
didn't.
taking the boxes. I missed it.
Okay, so everybody listen to the audio tracks, right? Very important. And what it does, again, was it will get you to remember without having to study or think about it. You'll just start doing stuff without even thinking, which is what you want, right? So what was next? Go to the website, I think. Is that the next one?
Refer to
Refer someone.
What's that? Oh, refer someone. Yeah, and nobody can get in now. We're in lesson 2. If somebody had called me during this week, I could have squeezed them in. And then what's next?
Go to the website.
Yeah, we went to the website last week, right? We got you all to turn on your phones just at the end there, and you got downloaded your audio tracks, and I'm so glad you all are, I think I went into the fact that the little things are really important. And if you, remember, how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you neglect or kind of think this is not a big deal, it'll come back, it'll bite you, it will be costly. So even this goal of reward and laminating it and making sure you're on time and have the stats in and go to the website and then make sure you download and listen to the audio tracks, and there's all these little things you do. But that's what top producers do. They're always taking care of all the little things, and they have automation helping them out, or technology, or delegating to others. And the last thing I did, I think it just says completed tasks or something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure you check off what you did. And so let's see what we have here. We have our stats. Thank you, captains. And everybody got their stats in. That's great. So how is the greatest group of realtors in the city of Calgary doing this morning?
Very good.
Very good.
That's good. That's good. That wasn't bad, actually. I was thinking you guys were a little bit laid back a bit, or maybe not ready for it, but at least you said, pretty good, right?
Yes.
And louder is better. So if I asked you again, how's the greatest group of realtors in the city of Calgary doing this morning?
Very good.
That's better. That's a little better. That usually creates a little bit of extra income.
Yes.
So you all good for extra income?
Cha-ching.
So we reviewed the homework. I did that first. Normally I do it right about now, but I just wanted to, I figured we had some time, so maybe let's go into that, right? Let's see here. So like we said, book some appointments, go to the office early or go to work early, and we want to create that habit. But write this down somewhere. You notice I didn't double side the manual. So on the left side, you have a blank page. You're going to take a tremendous amount of notes on that side. So that's another reason why I didn't want you to bring a notepad. And an additional reason is because there's no room on the table for that as well. But here's, write this down, rule of thumb number 1. Rule of thumb number 1. As soon as you wrote that down, just put up your hand and then I'll say what it is. Rule of thumb number 1. Joshi, rule of thumb number 1. Yeah, you got it? And it is never talk to inattention. Never talk to inattention. which just means if somebody's not paying attention to you, you may as well not even do anything, you know, you may as well never talk to inattention. Everyone's got that? Okay, so, before I get into the stats, I just wanted to just share a few things. That strike system we talked about, I just wanted to say that it's not a big deal, really. It can feel like a big deal, but you know, when you don't book enough appointments, but you tried, you might think, some people think, well, I don't really deserve a strike, I really tried hard. But remember, the strike is meant to be able to gauge you, so I can figure out if you need help. That's what it's really for, okay? And then if you need help, after lesson 4, we'll have some one-on-one Zoom meetings that I can help you with your business. So take any strikes or penalties, whatever we call them, it's not really relevant. It's the fact that if we're falling a little shy on our weekly activities, then we just have an N on the bottom of A6. The captains will actually check off if you've got an N and how many times. And once you have 3, then we'll just try to help you out even more. And then we'll just wipe those strikes off, no problem. But we just want to make sure we're keeping track properly. Can you do that? For yourself as a business owner, you can appreciate it. The little kid in you doesn't like it. The little kid hates a strike. They get their nose out of joint, stuff like that. But the little kid likes stars. I got stars for you. Okay. So I'll show you how that works. Everyone's got your name tag. Make sure that's very important. Not only for role play, and also so I don't call everybody Bob. And plus a place to put your stars. How many of you would love to have like a whole dozen stars on your name tag? It would just feel right, wouldn't it? Hey, it's funny. So we talked about the cell phones. I want to make sure we can have some fun, even though at times I come across like I'm being a little strict, or you know, even picky. It's just to help you again make more what?
Money.
Yeah, but in less
Time.
yes, we have more fun, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to have our team huddles in a second. I'll tell you how that's going to work. And then when you come back, I'll go drum roll, who's the top team of the week, and whoever the top, or who the runner-up team is first, I mean. So that would be the losing team of the week, but I don't like using that word. So I'll say runner-up team of the week is, and it'll be team A, team B, whatever. And that team will get up and do their motto or war cry. And then we'll do our stats, and we'll see where the trophy goes. But we also want to have a star story. So when you go into your team huddle, one team will go up front, and one team can just stay here in the room, that's fine. Or if there's an office for each team, that might be better, because then I can sit here and talk about you behind your back or something. But you know, maybe you just go into up front, or maybe one office or something like that. And captains, make a note of this. This is what you have to get them to do in their team huddle, okay? Each person has to pledge their goal or reward, okay? I don't have one on the back here, but it's... So take your declaration and reward with you. Each person has to pledge their goal or reward to the people on their team. So my trip, December 8th, I'm going to Mexico for a week. And then you have to come up with a star story, something good that happened this week. To give you some examples, it could be, went door knocking, I had a great conversation with somebody, so that was great. So there's one for somebody already. Or, you know, I got a listing and I feel it's priced right. Good, you know, Reader's Digest version means short, just short, right? So I went door knocking, had a great conversation. Good. I got a listing, it was priced right. Good, it was a good star story. Somebody else might say, you know, I'm working a full-time job. I didn't really get a lot done, but you know, I was able to take some time off, and I needed that. You know, so even though I'm just getting going, I have, you know, so sometimes it's not always business. It could be that you had some personal time for yourself, or something really good happened with the family. Maybe you went back and you just sat down with the family, you told them you're in this course, you're really excited, you're gonna, you know, and the family's just right behind you. That's a good star story, isn't it? And as a team, you're gonna pick the one that you all voted is the best one. All right, and if there's two, I don't know if we always have time for two, probably best just to have one, okay, Amy and Diksha on yours, like just have one. And and then the other one is captains, before you go, you'll come and get some stars from me. So each person, you'll say, pledge your goal. They'll say, I'm going to Mexico on December 8th. Any star stories? Yeah, I went door knocking, I had a great conversation. I'm going to follow up with the guy. And we got another student here. And then you'll say, how many stars do you get? Okay, and last week I told you what you get stars for. And if you can't remember, turn to A6 in your book right now. A6. And you notice we're always flipping around in these books, so you know. Anyways, on A6, on the top section, it has your transactions. See where it says total? Make sure you have a total. That's how many stars you get. So Peter, how many did you get?
6.
6. So Peter gets 6 stars. and Dick Shaw will give them to you, and you put them on your name tag on, probably just put them on the outside. That's fine, you know, like you don't have to take it apart and keep doing that. So, so what are the three things again, the captains? They gotta share their
Pledge.
their goal or reward,
Goals, they have to have a star
a
story.
quick little star story, and
And then
how many stars. And now,
On their-
if they ask you, or I don't want you guys to figure out how many stars they get. It's easy for them, you just have to look at A6 total. If they have nothing, it's 0. If they have 1, they get 1. If they got 6, they got 6. And they'll tell you, okay? They'll say, and Peter will say, I get 6. And you'll go, okay. And so, I want all of you to go into your team huddles, and captains just to come and see me for a second, okay? And we'll do that. You could, yeah, you can pause that for a second.